Hello, this is Alekius, and welcome back to Automation as Monza Motors. Last time I think I'd left off, and I was going to do all the factories off screen as well as some of the trim. I don't remember whether I got into the spreadsheet last time, but as we saw, available size, that's kind of why we went for the commuter vehicle. A lot of market to capture in that segment. Also, added a little bit to kind of figure out, okay, how much are we spending on these projects? How many months do we need to have good sales, and what are we selling at? So if there's any interest, that's where I was with the spreadsheet. We also took a look off screen at kind of the market sizes. We plussed up Helvetia and Fruinia based largely on, oh geez, where was it? I think the pre-existing, that's what it was. We went through one at a time and looked at, okay, what's the possible revenue? How much of the market do we have? Okay, what's the possible revenue? How much of the market do we have? And went through each bit to kind of balance out, all right, how much money am I making in each of those countries? And how much of the dealership network do we want to dive in? We dove in pretty hard in Archana, a little bit in Deluha, because the costs are not too terribly great, and we want to get into that market. Ruinia, we went in hard, and same for Helvetia. Did we do any research and development? Yes, we tapped into the top end fuel system, as well as body, wheels, and suspension for the car, giving us a research cost that's not too terribly expensive. And then for the car itself, taking a look, we did some trim for it. I know it's a little bit early for roof racks, but we did it. I might have done that on screen. I don't even remember. But we trimmed it out. That's a look at how she looks. We got the factory up. We went with the medium one for the car itself. And then the usual 65 across the board, balanced it out for 85 months. And then for the engine, a medium 2, balanced for 65 across the board, 85 months. And that led us to, hey, we're making a lot of these. We want to hit the markets hard. We went for minimum price. And we'll plus up the size of that factory if we have to, but we want it to sell strong from the beginning. So there we go, the Commuter 63, which is this one. And then for the revision of our Pepita, I believe this is a factory upsize. We're spending a bunch of money and we're upgrading this from a medium 1 to a medium 2 because of how this car is selling. We tried to shorten up the development time as best we could. Same for the engine, 65 across the board. Maximum pressure, minimum funding. We were trying to keep it as cheap as possible because you can see how quickly that balloons. could probably afford to throw some funding at it, but we wanted to be cheap with this particular upgrade. That's why we ended up with a much higher process on the delivery van as well, bring down the numbers and to bump up the engineering time. And that's why we got these numbers. And we went fairly cheap on this one as well, but not as cheap. Looking at what the spreadsheet said our projections for sales were, looking at hitting this price range, get the most out of it. So then we'll prove those two. And there we go. I have 2 projects ready to go. Let's roll some time and see how badly it hits our finances. You can see 95, 80, 96. And I will wait for February for our review. No taxes paid, wow. 100% production on the Secchio. Pollo Grigliato is at 70. Pepita is maxed out. Go another year. More competition. New cars. Economy downturn. But we're selling more each month. Minimum safety regulations updated. So we're looking at 1970 will need 12 and 20. I think everything meets that still. Gas monotube. And we got the mechanical fuel injection. Should be about to hit the factory costs. Because of that, I may want to max out a loan. And this will cost us the most money in the long run, but we need to get that. What's that profit margin there? 10 million? We'll go over 8 years of the payback of the loan. Percentage is not too bad on the loan. Now put us positive, and we'll use that to gauge how much it's going to hurt us down here. So we're going, definitely maxing out production on the Secchio. Kind of tempted to do a revision of the Secchio. Bump up production. Open up the market to the Archana and Delua and offset it from some of the rest. Yeah, the Secchio. So we want a new facelift there. Activate. Go to the engine project. New facelift. Activate. Yes, with the new one. That becomes a 65 model. Don't have to change too much. Do we want to pay for the Forge Works? Get a little bit more out of this car. I mean, we don't need the forged crank and stuff. It's a factor that it makes it more lightweight. The pistons is what I really want. That allows us to boost the compression. Oh, we have regular gas. We can switch away from leaded now. That brings us down to 91. Better fuel efficiency. Have the short cast, baffled. Let's Actually clear the hell of the engine. Do our little optimization. Find out which one's better. The numbers tell us this is worse, so does what we're seeing over here. But we'll go one more, we'll see how that works out. And yeah, that curve is much worse. Let's hold it now and go down instead. The regular fuel, we see a hit. Looking at the torque curve on this one, because you have that dip there, the dip there, and it's pretty much worse overall. Even though that's not necessarily reflected in the performance index, it is in the fuel efficiency. Those RPMs, the engine is running starved of power. We can get a little bit at the top end by sacrificing a little bit in the middle, which is bad for fuel efficiency. So we're not going to do that. So it's pretty happy where it is. Could boost the RPM limit slightly. It'll hurt the reliability. But for the extra performance, a little bit more on the power band. You can go a little deeper. I like those things. Boxers sound so interesting. So, we're gonna wait on the factory on the engine. Rename this to R65. Longitudinal front wheel drive. We want just family. This is what we're looking for, thank you. Definitely want the extra gear. Well, 5.3 was where we were at. But I kind of want that to be the overdrive gear. Leave it at 50. A slight sacrifice for sensibility. They're willing to go to radials. Portability gets better with the radials. We'll have to tweak the suspension and get it to where it needs to be. Compound. Does have the extra comfort that comes from that. Let's see the. Yeah, it's a bit much, and it's going to reverse the curve if I go too far. Yep, right there, and that is very bad. We don't want that. We might change the spring balance, but I think the better option. Oh, I don't know. All the rear tires is usually not a good thing. It's a tough choice. Go for the larger rim. Really affect it strongly, one way or the other. Man, why is the cross ply so different? Let's see, can we bring that curve down at all? Doesn't seem like it. We might just have to widen the tires overall to get to where we can control the vehicle again. Now the curve's reversing and we're approaching best drivability. Oh, that just barely. How does it handle high speed? That's not great, but you shouldn't be going that fast. I want to drive it in BeamNG and find out. That is like riding the edge. We'll just widen the tires a little bit. Could do solid disc. 2 piston. That seems expensive. Well, on the back, can we recover enough of the cost? Switching to solid discs. It's overbraked right now. We can bring down to a softer, more comfortable brake pad. Something like that to 116.3 or 117.2 and be slightly overbraked. Shift it to the rear a little or the front. Soften up the brakes a little bit. Also, coincidentally, makes it cheaper. I think that's about where I want it. Because I like to have more rear brake than you need. It's going to lock up the back, which can create some undesirable situations. A sports car, you want it like right there. The front brakes, I don't want to lock up the front tires without ABS and a lock brake system, as the grip left available allows you to continue to steer. And that's something I take because I export some of these to BeamNG, but it also makes sense to me, regardless of whether that's an industry standard or not, which I really don't know. Really? They want... Oh, no, they don't want premium interior. I don't know if they want basic either, though. Guess it depends on what can sell into the passenger fleet. I kind of like that. We're downing the quality. Keep the hydraulic power steering. I don't think we need advanced 50s. They do want it. What is the safety? Above 20. That's what we need. About standard 60s. Comparable, but not quite 20, and we need 20 for this. So we'll bump up the quality slightly. +2. Vice. 0. So if we go to the advanced 50s, engineering time is 5 more months. it's heavier, whereas the standard 60s is less heavy. Still helps our fuel count. No, the fuel count. Why is that green? That's a higher number. Like, more miles per the gallon is better. That doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, and this is more weight and it went red. Like, that's how it should be. Regardless, a little bit more reliability if we go with the standard 60s. I think I am going to go with the advanced 50s though. We'll leave it. They're definitely going to want the progressive. I don't think they're going to want the hydrogen pneumatic. It's too expensive. Gas mono? No. Do we need to tweak? That's fairly comfortable. You can tone down the rear suspension just a tad. It lowers the amount of weight we can work with. But we can gain some of that back with ride height. And now we're looking at a 5-degree roll angle, and that's a nice, comfortable, and rounded number to deal with. So we'll switch to balancing out the dampers with where the springs are, which I just go purely off of what the preference for the category is. And the sway bars. $124.7. That's not a very good number, but there's a lot of competing trims. And the car is doing well enough. If I put it into the spreadsheet, and this is using the old numbers, I kind of want to show what I've been doing in the spreadsheet. We have the family car. What categories do we have for family? We hit family, of course. Actually, let's put conditional on here. Make it easier to see where I need to. Anytime you see family, give me a highlight, please. That'll make it easy to cross-check. Are we still hitting the family utility slot? We sure are. But we're taking a small hit. It's now 124.6 with an affordability of 55.5. So the car is getting a lot more expensive. Not necessarily a good thing. Affordability for the family utility premium. Ah, I was reading the wrong category. 2089.2. That makes more sense. This one, family car should completely replace it. If I can type it the right way. 0.6, 55.5. Passenger fleet, we're not going to get too much on that one. And the affordability is poorer. So we'll still get some from the commuter. 100.8, 54.8. And then I did tweak this, change some things in the spreadsheet. Family premium, we're actually not hitting anymore. And instead we're hitting the family category, which the commuter also hits. That brings us 124.7 at 62.3. That's telling us we're going to get really about 2.5 million of the market. Out of curiosity, if we bump up the interior back to where it was, well, maybe standard because we'll still hit 120. We're not taking too big a hit. Family premium market pretty big. It sure is. Maybe I should split the trim. Take a look at the, try to get a bit out of this. We want premium, not luxury. 91.1, yeah, it's taking a hit. But with a radio, I'm really liking that. If I do that, we're hitting a... Oop, wrong one. We're hitting smaller categories, but we're hitting them a little bit more strongly. I don't know. Family utility premium. We're looking at a potential that is very, very small, because we're already saturating that market. We'll lock it in. Family premium, or actually it's a very small market, that's what it is. And some of these numbers aren't reflecting because we have no penetration into Archana and Deluha when I did this spreadsheet or updated the numbers. Which I pull those, for those who don't know from the previous series, I'm pulling it from these columns, from these spreadsheets. Pretty much hit each one, except for the possible revenue heat map, because that's new. So I hit those markets, and then we get these numbers. Family premium market is fairly large. Do I produce the trim in its own factory? I don't think I can afford that. And if I split it, it's going to take like 40% of the production. And is it worth it to maintain that? I think not until we get the basic. I think it deserves its own factory. We'll hit the smaller, cheaper market, and then as we get some more spare money, we'll look at doing a revision and a premium model. I like that plan. I think it'll go places. So we'll do a revision to the factory. Big thing about this was to plus up, which I'm going to check the spreadsheet again to find out what we were producing at. We were producing 2,400. No, we were producing 2,100 vehicles. This will bring us up to 3,500 and cost us a lot of money for additional machine tools and everything. Keep it up in the 65 category. I do not mind spending plenty of time on engineering. That's fine. I really don't care about the engineering time. I do want it to come out in a reasonable period though. And I don't care about building our familiarity right now. Maybe I should. But I'm going to abuse the pressure slider for now. And then our... Oh, I forgot to write down the number. So we are looking at 3379. Project management. How many engines are we making? We need the Forge Works. We need to plus up the size. 3370, and that's more engines than we need. And that's brutal. Well, that's pretty expensive. Plus up the process. And bring down the tooling some. Ah, I forgot to write down the amount of time it was going to take too. So engineering time is 77.5. Let's spend a couple $1,000,000. We'll get down to 72. So with 72, no pressure, maximum reliability, bump up the process some, and we have something that looks like that. Very over-engineered engine. I'm fine with that. Forecast tool says we're crazy. We are going to go a little bit cheap. How many does it say we're going to get now? 3259. Basically 3250. We're producing 2300-ish. Unit wise, looking at cost wise, we're looking at a sum of 479 million, which is comparable to the other ones. So if we are selling it at 79.60 a car, take 2 years to get the money back if we sell well enough. $580. I don't want to push down the price, the desirability for it too much though. I think we're going to go with a 6 on this one. I'll give us 75.60 or margin of 2040. Yeah, I'm going to change that to a margin. That's actually going to tell us how long it takes to pay back the project. A long time. 6-ish years. But we're plussing up the size of the factory, and that's why. That's an expensive car. I'm going to do it. This might be a mistake. I'll save just before, in case it really is. I don't mind saves coming once in a blue. By and large, I like to live with my mistakes for any series I'm doing online. And yeah, those factories don't tool, so we have a gap to make some of the money back, and then we tool the factories. Very well. So, there we go. Gas monotube. And we stop producing. Or would be the Pepita is building right now. And that's the last of the pepitas selling for now. Oh yeah, it's gonna hurt. We're about to hit the second one. Which is actually not too much more, because that one is just upgrading the factory. The other one was building a bigger. And there we go, Pepita is out. Kind of blew through the new year. Looking at factory utilization is what I've been going off of. 108 for the Secchio. Nope. Do I even want to see the individuals? That is a lot more readable. Yeah, I like that a lot more. So, first month. And we're taking a loss. That is very bad. Lightweight forged. We'll be getting by the end of the year. Oh, losing 2 million. That is not bueno. Desirable. %0 margin. Is this that bug that I was encountering in the last series, where sometimes it just doesn't, you don't get the money for it? Doesn't seem reasonable. We're utilizing the factory. It is starting to turn a profit, but not the profit that she was making beforehand. We got our lightweight forged pistons. 0 taxes paid, not a surprise. We are starting to break open the margin, but we have a much bigger build for the patatine coming up here shortly. That's going to destroy our finances. Banks seem to think we're doing okay. Do a very long-term loan. Monthly payments of 7 million. When we have not that much of a margin. We're taking a big hit on that one, but we're going to need to pay for this somehow, and that's going to be the expensive project. And I'd rather be in the positive than not. So let's take 2 max loans, which is going to put us heavily into the negative per month. Go into the marketing. And how are we doing in Fruinia? Maxing out a few categories, especially the lighter vehicles, which means we can afford to expand. At Vezia, we're selling pretty much as many as we're going to. Verinia, we can expand. Deluha, not really in. Market awareness is still building up. We're not selling anything. A bit concerning. I did set that for the Pepita, didn't I? Did the project look? No, I did not. Well, that would be why. Don't want to do a whole new project, so we're going to lay off and we won't get into Archana and Deluha, but we will build up we'll keep paying for the markets. It's not that expensive. And that'll build up our minimum awareness for when we do go in, which is already built up now. Oh, that's really expensive per month. I don't think we can afford that cost. Looking at the market awareness for Fruinia. Yeah, if we were getting a little bit higher, I'll just let it build. We're just gonna have to deal with it for now. Straight through muffler and basic 60s safety coming up this next year. And here we're about to hit the first bit of payments. Ban on leaded fuel vehicles in 10 years for any in Helvetia. We're actually paying taxes because we're making money, which that's good. And Pepita is starting to sell very well now. In fact, the factory is overutilized and we should probably expand it. Which is good, but like this is what we just went through. I would like to get the Pollo Grigliato into more markets as well. We have the 65. We'll do a 68 model. New facelift. Edit the engine project. New facelift. For the clone. Yes. This will be our 68. So we'll switch to lightweight forged conrods, which doesn't make it any lighter, just adds engineering time and saves on material costs. Doesn't seem very good. Switch to regular fuel, the DCOE, which I like. Keep everything else relatively the same. I want this to be as light as we can make it. Weight wise, we could save by going to some others, but we lose on the fuel mixture that we can maintain. But I'm curious. I'm gonna look. Twin 4 barrels. Or single. 12.8. And weight wise, it is a lot heavier. Single's a little bit lighter, but is it worth it detuning it to get 4 pounds? On the 2 barrel side, we're now restricting the power too much. And we won't be saving any. And we can't do a quad carb or triple because it's a boxer. So the DCOE makes a lot of sense. Let's see, what of our RPM limits are virtually limitless now. We can put a little bit more overdrive. Judging by the numbers, performance index, what I'm using to determine how much overdrive to put in. And then we can't really up the compression any. Question is, do we neck it down at all? Lose a bunch of horsepower to gain almost no efficiency. And expanding it doesn't help either. We could go to race tubular, but that's heavier. About 4 pounds. I think we'll stick with this. Do the usual balancing for compression and ignition timing. Better low end. Almost no effect on the high end. I definitely like that. A little bit more compression. And now we're starting to affect the high end and I'm less keen on it. not that much low-end benefit from it either. So revert, freeze, drop the compression 2. We advance the timing. We're barely getting anything on the top end. Like we get a little bit of a torque bonus here and here by sacrificing this entire middle end. So I think that's where the car should be. That just sounds cool. And that makes this a 140. Oh yeah, that's right. We had restricted the stroke some. I had forgotten all about that. We can expand that now that we have more RPM to work with and make it a true 1.8 liter. It shouldn't affect anything else. The 1.8 liter, and we get 7 more horsepower out of it. And I don't want to drop the quality at all. I'd rather it be nicer. We go to the car, we're looking at a 68. Factory wise, and move up to a 3. Right now, we have a light sport making roughly 7. Actually, I think it's right around 600. We're looking at 600. We bump it up. We'll get 1130. Engineering wise, we can drop the tooling a little bit. Pump the process back up. Drop the reliability. Rid of the funding and pressure. And it'll take no time to engineer that. 38 months. Go back to the engine. We're not making nearly enough engines and we're already at a max size, so we would have to buy new land. We're just limited. 675. Go back to the factory. We want the 2. Perfect. No need to change any of that. $38 months. Got the factory already. We spend a couple million, we can bump up the production even more. That's fine. I don't want to spend a couple million. Although the car does make a decent amount of money. We could actually do that. And 10-ish million. 8 million. Make some more engines of higher quality. Bump up the process. Up the reliability. And yeah, we're going to need to spend money and time on this one. Unless we want to take longer. What's that look like? Let's go for 60 months. I'm not spending a boatload on engineering. Go back here and, well, we can make this a really nice car now. Bump up the reliability a great deal. Up the process. Not going to mess with the tooling too much. And there we go, 60 months. And the car's already pretty expensive. We can make it more expensive. Which it says we're crazy, and I think it's crazy. Although maybe not. How much were we spending on it before? Oh, I don't have a number for that. We'll leave it at 2. Probably, actually, that's the sweet spot as far as the game's concerned. We haven't been utilizing the factory to the full extent. We're going into a new market. What does that look like long term? We'll go ahead and leave it as is. There we go. There's a new market. We have everything offset now. Nice easy factory to make too, since it's small. We're going to get alloy rims here shortly. Maybe I should have looked at the option. I did not engineer the vehicle at all for the Pollo Grigliato. Whoops. So same exact settings as before, so it's not fully optimized. New month. We have what we needed. We'll see inline 5s, luxury 8 tracks, hyper-uretic cast pistons, and advanced 70s safety. As we watch our funds slowly dwindle. Oh, I think I forgot to put the new markets into the Pollo Grigliato. And there we go. There's all our new tech. We're at 1970. Just about to finish up the Patatine and about to start engineering the Secchio. No taxes paid. And 1980 is going to see Fruinia get up to 22. Are we also seeing... Gasmea is now available. So I have to remember to add those in. That's all I have time for today. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for staying till the end. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And I will see you next time. Take care.